Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. It's the Halloween season, time to get spooky. I don't usually do these tag videos, but I thought this one would be a good one as a precursor to my upcoming Halloween special. It's a very subtle hint on what I'll be talking about in this special. Very subtle indeed. So this tag was started by the Horror Corner, and I personally saw it on a channel called Lisa Love. So I'll leave a link to both those videos down below if you want to check them out, because I thought this would be a fun one to kind of go over and talk about. So these are just 8 questions based around Jason Voorhees and my preferences with the Friday the 13th franchise. So let's get into it. So number 1. If there was never a sequel to the original Friday the 13th movie, would it still be considered a classic?
No. No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Yeah, about sums it up. See, what people remember about Friday the 13th is Jason Voorhees. It's the big slasher with the machete and the hockey mask. It's not Mrs. Voorhees. And if you didn't know, Jason wasn't the killer in the first Friday the 13th. It was Pamela Voorhees. So
Kill her, Mommy.
So I think it would be a cult classic, but I don't think it would be like I don't think most people would know what it was or what it was about. I think it would be like very low end, like only a few people know about it, but there's like a community kind of around it sort of thing. I don't think it would be the cultural landmark that it is. Number 2, what's your favorite Friday the 13th movie? That, of course, would be Friday the 13th for the final chapter. First of all, it's hilarious that the 4th one in a 13 movie franchise is called the final chapter. They missed the mark on that one. But they did intend it to be the end, and they threw everything they could at it, and it's great. I really love what they did with it. The things they did with Jason and with Tommy Jarvis, and the setup is very classic. A lot of it just really works, and I enjoy that one wholeheartedly, so definitely the 4th one. Number 3, what's your least favorite Friday the 13th movie? Definitely Jason Goes to Hell. Outside the lack of Jason in it, even though this is the first movie, I believe, with his name in the title, outside of that, it's just very cheaply feeling. The music feels cheap, the effects feel cheap. It's just a cheap feeling movie. I don't know, it's not very engaging. It's just kind of just feels like, well, we got to do another one of these. Let's just throw some shit together and we'll do it. So yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, my least favorite. Who is your favorite final girl in the franchise? That, of course, would be Alice from the first Friday the 13th. Just that iconic scene of her in the lake when she's finally all over with this ordeal, but then, Jason jumps out of the water. It's just a great scene just for that alone. But I also feel like, she was a very strong character and, earned her way to being this final girl, and I liked her a lot. I liked Alice. What is your favorite kill in the Friday the 13th franchise? The liquid nitrogen. I think that one is the best. Just everything about it's very cool. It's very different. I like it a lot. It definitely used the environment that Jason is great at doing. He always uses everything around him. And it's not just a normal chopping a head off. It's something different and interesting. And I believe that's usually up on a lot of people's favorite kills of this franchise. And it definitely deserves it. It is fantastic. Number 6. Who is your favorite actor to play Jason? Well, I believe anyone that's done this and all that it's Kane Hodder. Like, that's obvious. I think the more interesting and what this may be getting more at this question is what is your favorite incarnation of Jason? Because every single movie he looks completely different than the movie before. So where does he look the best? And that would be Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. I think this is a fantastic look for him with the chains and the disheveled clothes and the exposed spine on the back. I think when people think of Jason, this is the Jason they're thinking of. This is the iconic, this is the Jason that's been through some shit, but he's also, ready to kill some people still. I think that is the Jason, for me at least. Number 7, were you happy with the events of Part 5? And if not, what would you have done differently? So if you didn't know, Friday the 13th Part 5, what happened is it turned out that in the end, Jason was the guy killing everyone wasn't Jason. It was this paramedic that decided to dress up as Jason, who was angry about his kid dying, I believe. And yeah, I am not happy with that one. It screws up any sort of kill count you try to do, because do you really count those as Jason kills? Because it wasn't actually Jason, but it wasn't the style of Jason, and it muddies the continuity and things of that nature. But it's just kind of a weak twist, it wasn't Jason after all. Then how could he have done half the stuff he did? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So what I would have done differently is, Part 4, my favorite, ended with kind of hinting that Tommy Jarvis was going to be the next Jason or take over that. What I would have done is I would have had Tommy as this kind of crazy recluse that everyone's unsure about, and then the murders start happening again, and everyone starts blaming Tommy, and you maybe think that it is Tommy, but in the end it actually is Jason. But Tommy's no, it's not me, but no one believes him. And maybe since he's kind of crazy and had this traumatic event, he's losing time. So maybe he thinks he's has a different personality of Jason. But I think in the end, it always was Jason. I think that'd be a really cool way to take that, and it would have been a very cool movie. So there you go. And finally, do you think the next Friday the 13th film should be a remake of the 1980s film, a sequel to the 2009 film, or a whole new story? Honestly, I do think a whole new story. The thing about the Friday the 13th franchise is it doesn't have a really strong continuity. Each one has a general, Jason is raised from the grave because of this, and then he kills some people in whatever environment he is in. That is kind of the appeal and the general gist of most Friday the 13th storylines. So I think a sequel to the remake would be kind of unnecessary. It would feel weird to have that. because the remake, in a sense, works in the whole franchise because of how the franchise works like that. So really, it's not even as much of a remake as it's just another Friday the 13th story. I wouldn't want to see a direct remake because then we know the twist that Pamela Voorhees was the killer. So I wouldn't go that route. Plus, it wouldn't work because people want to see Jason. So I think just doing a whole new story and just going with that. Jason's raised up from the grave for some reason, and you put him in some environment and he kills people. I think that'd be the way it works. Because that's why I love this franchise so much, and how I got into it was I could go to Blockbuster, that's how old I am, at any time and just grab a random Friday the 13th movie and enjoy it without having to be like, well, what's he mean by this? What's this mean? Where's this happen? They all just were kind of in their own universe. And I kind of like that, how there's, you don't have to see all of them. You can just watch a random Friday the 13th. So I think a cool idea would be, and it would fit with like today's world, is have somebody recreate Crystal Lake as one of these adult camps that they're doing and set Jason loose in that. So it's not killing kids or counselors. It's, these hipster doofus adults that feel like they still need to go to camp. And I think that would be really cool to do that. Or maybe somebody bought Camp Crystal Lake and made it its own horror-themed thing, and he's inside the like haunted maze or whatever, and he's killing people. I think you can definitely do some stuff around that. So I think that's where I'd go. So that is the Jason Voorhees tag. I guess you're supposed to tag other people in these videos. I don't know. If you want to do it, then go ahead and do it, and just give credit to the Horror Corner who created this. But yeah, this is pretty fun. I don't do a lot of these tag ones because my slate is so filled with other videos that I'm doing. But I wanted to do something Halloween-y as we're getting up to the series. And then coming up next video is my Halloween special. Ha 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 ha.